Okay, at this time, I would like to turn it over to Mr. Shapiro to continue up with our second day of the hearing.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Aaron Shapiro. I've been designated to be the hearing officer in the matter of what we're generally calling Todd v. the Town of Greenwood. This is Ms. Todd's challenge to the town's notice of its intent to remove her from her position as town manager. This is the second day of hearing. Our first day of hearing was yesterday, January the 15th. When we concluded yesterday, the town had not yet completed its case presentation, so we will take up today with the continuation of the town's presentation and the expectation that Ms. Todd will then start her case-in-chief presentation. I will not make a full recitation of the hearing procedures that I stated yesterday on the record, except for one thing. Witnesses are to be sequestered, and that means that any witness that will be providing testimony in this matter will not be in this hearing room while another witness is testifying. And I would also caution witnesses not to be tuning into or connecting to the live stream of this meeting through the town's resources. They are to keep themselves truly sequestered. With that, to the parties, are there any preliminary matters before we take up the town's case presentation?
I don't believe so. I think the town is ready to proceed.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Then, Apollo, please continue the presentation.
As the next witness, I'm going to call Ms. Slater, the acting town manager, and I'm going to grab her right now.
Are you a witness on it? You're not a witness? You're not gonna be a witness? Okay. We were just on a list, that's why.
Mrs. Stan?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Could you please state your name for the record?
Rhiannon Slater.
Okay.
Spell your first name for me, please. R-H-I-A-N-N-O-N. Thank you.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are to provide will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Slater, thank you for making yourself available today. Could you please briefly summarize your experience involving municipal government to start off?
So I started as a town administrator with the town of Wyoming in 2000. I then was the operations supervisor for the town of Camden and left there, went back to Wyoming for several more years. And then I left local government for several years and then came back as the town clerk for the city of Barrington. And I was promoted from the town clerk position to the clerk of council. I was promoted from the clerk of council position to the town clerk position, who handled all the utility and tax billing, as well as code rewrites and interpretation and application. From there, I went to the city of Milford with Public Works. I started as an administrative assistant, and after a year was promoted to operations supervisor. From there, I went to the town of Millsboro as the assistant director for Public Works, and then now I'm here.
Okay. And throughout the course of your time, have you ever dealt with municipal finances and things of that sort?
I have.
Do you have experience involving addressing account reconciliations, maintaining the QuickBooks file, all that sort of thing?
Yes.
Okay. If you could summarize, since your arrival and as the acting town manager in Greenwood, what have you taken on as your responsibilities in terms of the financial affairs of the town?
The day-to-day, overall, all financial aspects, with the exception of some separation of duties that I have put into place, some procedural changes. There's the receiving the payments, deposits, which, again, separation of duties, Carolyn primarily handles that, but I oversee it and I enter it into QuickBooks. As far as compiling the actual bank deposit, she does that. Entering the bills, the account reconciliations have been being handled by the accountant until that's all current. So grant reporting and application, really all of it.
At the end, you said really all of it?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and if I don't actually hands-on do it, then I oversee Carolyn doing it and offer direction.
What about for any vendors that are assisting with anything? Do you oversee them as well, in the performance of their contract?
Yes.
Okay. Just, if you could elaborate a little bit further, you mentioned separation of duties. Could you explain what you mean by that? And was it, first of all, was that happening before? And then if you could explain why you've changed that, if you in fact did.
So and I don't know how it was prior to Ms. Todd's suspension, but Carolyn was entering and paying the bills. And my understanding is that Ms. Todd entered and paid the bills. And in my experience with auditors, that's not, the proper way to do things, because if I'm entering the bills, I could easily slip a personal bill in there and then turn around and pay that bill. The checks and balances is in place by having another employee write the checks and pay the bills. So I told Carolyn, I will enter the bills, and now she pays them on a weekly basis. She does the check writing.
And how long would it take you to make that change?
I'd say within a week.
And how long roughly have you been acting town manager?
Since September 2nd,
Okay. Of
25.
So when you first came, you gained an understanding of like the general status of the town's books and accounts.
Yes.
And what, if anything, did you find regarding account reconciliations? Let's start there.
So the town maintains 10 checking accounts, and of those 10 accounts, since 6 had not been reconciled since mid to end of 23. One was not reconciled since December 31st of 22, and then another one had been reconciled sometime in 24, I don't remember exactly when. And there was a approximately $310,000 higher balance in QuickBooks than what the bank statements were showing.
So what is the significance of reconciling or not reconciling? Could you elaborate a little bit about why doing that matters?
Well, because the big discrepancy between the bank and QuickBooks was because there were transactions that were going through the bank that were not entered into QuickBooks, and had reconciliations been being done on a timely basis, those transactions would have been found and entered into QuickBooks and properly tracked.
So if I understand correctly, tell me if I'm wrong, it's sort of like a way for the town to make sure it has a accurate, up-to-date understanding of its financial picture.
Leading question.
There's no rules of evidence, and if we're gonna not be here all day, I can ask open-ended questions for the rest of the day.
Overruled. Go ahead, Nancy.
I guess you are correct.
Okay.
Sorry, did you get that answer?
I did not hear your answer.
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you.
You mentioned, I think you mentioned discrepancies as part of your prior answer. Could you elaborate on that? Like, did you find any discrepancies in the course of getting a handle on the financial situation?
Well, just between the QuickBooks balance and the bank balance, and again, the missing transactions in QuickBooks. There were a number of transactions, and there was one account that I did reconcile current, and during that reconciliation, I found multiple payments that went through the bank that were not entered into QuickBooks. So, and I know that that's what the auditors have found going forward too with the other accounts.
What about with respect to the general fund? Have you found any discrepancies there?
There were missing transactions. It is the account that had not been reconciled since December 31st of 22.
And what were the amount of, in terms of dollar figure, discrepancies you were trying to work your way through?
In relation to the general account,
Yes.
I would say just over 200,000. The majority of the transactions were in the general account.
So when you say just over 200,000, could you explain a little further? When you say like it was overpaid, underpaid, like in what respect was it when you say 200,000?
The QuickBooks balance was about $200,000 higher than what was actually available in the bank.
Okay. And has that been able to be fully reconciled at this point, or is that still pending?
I believe that the auditors are still working on it. There's a number of transactions that they have put into what they term as the suspense account, because they put the transactions in to get them into QuickBooks, but they are not certain as to what line items they should be applied.
What impact does the issue specifically with the general fund have on the town's ability to manage its affairs?
Well, I mean, you need to know how much money you have when you're paying a bill, that what QuickBooks says is the balance is actually what is available. And that is an issue that we ran into. There was an invoice that needed to be paid, and the amount that the invoice was for was not available in the account that it was to be paid from.
Okay.
According to QuickBooks, it was there. According to the bank, it was not.
Understood. So in the course of addressing these financial functions and issues, I think you mentioned that you also oversee and interact with vendors.
Yes.
Have you had any interaction with PKS?
I have had limited interaction, just their presentation of the 21 audit. I've not had any interaction with them regarding the 22 audit because we haven't started that yet.
Understood. So in the course of your interaction with them, did they ever reference anything involving their prior dealings with Ms. Todd?
In a meeting, in an online meeting with them, the partner that was presenting made the statement that if Ms. Todd were still with the town, that they would not be conducting the 22 audit.
And did they elaborate on what they meant by that
Check.
comment?
And I know the rules of evidence, but I think this type of hearsay shouldn't be allowed. And they had the chance to have these people appear. I just think it's going above and beyond. There's no documentation regarding this, and I just want to make objection for the record.
Overall, I would expect you would deal with it on cross-examination.
So did they elaborate on what they meant by that?
They did not.
Okay. And when you say it was an online meeting, when did that online meeting take place?
I would say the end of September. I believe they presented at the October meeting, so it was shortly before they made the presentation for the audit to council.
When you say the October meeting, you mean the October meeting of council?
Yes.
Okay. Once the books are fully reconciled
Yes.
and the issues resolved, do you anticipate having any problems with maintaining the general financial hygiene of those?
I do not.
Why is that?
Because as long as it's done on a regular basis, it's not very time consuming. It's a fairly quick and straightforward process.
Okay. In terms of any records involving vendor payments, vendor invoices, have you ever had any interaction with those?
Yes.
Could you explain, if you could, what the general organizational approach was with respect to that vendor information?
So what I have found is that approximately 5 years worth of vendor payable information is encompassed in each vendor file. There's nothing separated by year, which makes it a little bit difficult to find specific invoices. You have to dig through 5 years worth of invoices to find what you're looking for. That's not a practice that I'm used to seeing.
And when you say 5 years, are they like at least, if not separated in chronological order, or are the years interspersed?
They're all interspersed.
So to make sure the record's clear, you have a folder involving a vendor,
Yes.
and it's not like 23 would be appearing after 22. You might see 23 back at the beginning or something like that.
Correct.
Okay. And what is the significance of that vendor information? Why does that matter?
Well, we need to maintain records of where the money is spent, first of all. Second of all, when it comes time for the audit, the easier it is to sort through that information, the faster we can provide the information to the auditors.
You said that's not a practice you're used to seeing in your prior roles. Did you ever interact with similar information?
I did, yes.
How was it organized?
By year.
Has that situation caused issues with responding to any requests from the auditors?
Not from the auditors, but with FOIA requests, it has.
So if there's a, and to be clear, if there's a FOIA request, that could potentially implicate those records.
Yes.
I have nothing further this time.
Mr. Hoffman, Ross?
Yeah, you were hired in September on a temporary basis,
Yes, sir.
so it was for 90 days,
Correct.
and was that contract renewed?
It was.
Okay. You agree that, are you looking for permanent employment here?
I mean, if the position becomes open permanently, I intend to apply, yes.
Okay, and you understand that if Ms. Todd's termination goes through, there would obviously be an opening, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Mrs. Todd's termination, your acceptance of a permanent position is contingent on this council voting to terminate Ms. Todd, is that correct?
A permanent position with this town, yes.
Okay. You talked about this online meeting, who said this made the statement?
The partner who presented the audit,
Okay. Are there any, do you know their name?
I do not already.
And this was not made at a public
It
meeting?
was not.
It was not recorded in any way?
No, it was
You
not.
don't know the name of this individual?
I do not.
Okay. And when did this take place?
I believe at the end of September.
And how many people were in and on that meeting?
Myself and the mayor,
Okay, so the mayor, was it Cesna was in on that meeting?
yes.
Would Mayor Cesna respond to that statement?
I don't recall him responding to it at all.
Other than an attorney, how many people have talked about prepared you for your testimony here today?
None.
Okay. You have not talked to anybody on this panel regarding your testimony?
I have not.
Now, if you recall, are you someone that has applied for grants before on behalf of the town?
I have.
Okay. And how many grants have you applied for previously?
Previous to town of Greenwood,
Yes.
I would have to really sit down and think about that. There were quite a few with the town of Wyoming, as well as the city of Harrington. I also maintained their police grants. And with the city of Milford, there were multiple DENREC and other agency grants that I was involved in.
Now, have you reviewed any of the prior correspondence with PKS in the town, Ms. Todd?
I looked at the 20 audit to review the auditor's notes from that audit.
Did you review the public meeting with the auditor on May 14, 2025?
I did not.
Okay, you don't know that PKS stated publicly, not in a private meeting, that there were no instances of non-compliance?
I didn't say that there were instances of non-compliance, but no, I was not aware of that.
So you can't testify here today that Ms. Todd had any instances of non-compliance regarding the audit, any audits?
No, I cannot.
Are you aware that PKS communicated that there were issues prior to Ms. Todd becoming the town manager, which caused a backlog and caused the issues with the audits?
I as I said, I read the 20 audit report, and it noted the same discrepancies that are in 21. Obviously, there was not time between the 20 audit and 21 audit to make those changes. That is the only thing that I'm aware of.
So that you wouldn't put the blame on Ms. Todd for that, right? For anything that happened prior to her becoming the town manager?
No. I mean, other than the fact that she was in charge of finances.
Well, not before she became town manager.
Okay.
Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you understand that, did you talk to the CPA firm Wigglesworth?
I did not.
Okay, do you understand that they were actually a vendor that was hired to reconcile the general ledger?
I have been told that, yes.
Okay, and how long have you been acting town manager? Since September?
Yes.
And in that time, you have never reached out to the CPA firm regarding?
That was something that happened in 2022. I didn't see relevance, no. I have not.
Well, they were there to reconcile the general ledger for 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. Are you aware of that?
I am not, no, and those reconciliations were not completed if they were not in QuickBooks.
Okay, so did you ever follow up with Wigglesworth CPA and ask them why this wasn't done?
No, because again, to the best of my knowledge, they ended their tenure here in 2022.
You're saying Wigglesworth ended their tenure with the town of Greenwood in 2022?
That's what I had been told, yes.
If I could have you take a look at that binder right in front of you, and go to Exhibit 2, it's JP 0003.
No, on the top, right? JT 0003.
You can have a moment to review this. I believe it's already been entered into evidence as Exhibit, Todd Exhibit 2. And I know you probably haven't seen this before, I'm just
I
asking.
have not.
Okay. Does this contradict your prior statement that Wigglesworth,
This says that they will provide those services. It doesn't say that they did provide those services. So even looking at this, I can't say for sure that they provided those services.
yes, but you just testified that based on your knowledge as acting town manager since September, that
Yes.
Wigglesworth had ended their services back in 2022, right?
Yes, yes.
According to this is a letter from July 24th, 2023.
Right.
Okay, well, wouldn't this be important information for you to have?
I have not conducted the reconciliations with the exception of the municipal street aid account.
Say that again, municipal,
Street aid,
thank you.
I don't know, I cannot speak to whether or not Luff and Associates has spoken to this firm and gotten information from them. I don't know,
Okay.
since they're the ones handling the reconciliations.
So you're not here to testify regarding any non-compliance actions that Ms. Todd did prior to you becoming town manager, is that correct?
Correct.
Have you had any conversations with any of the council members regarding Ms. Todd's actions?
I mean, in passing, as I said, the information that I got on Wigglesworth, I believe, came from a council person. I mean, nothing in depth, but I mean, obviously, information has been relayed.
What conversations have you had with council members regarding Ms. Todd?
Just, I mean, I can't even recall anything specific. Maybe just something of, Janet handled this, or Janet obtained this grant, those sorts of things. That's it.
Now, so basically you haven't heard any complaints from council members about Ms. Todd?
Objection asked and answered multiple times at this point.
I don't think he's asked that specific question before.
I may have, but again, I cannot recall any specific.
Sitting here today, you can't testify to any actions Ms. Todd did that are in actions she did or didn't do that was not pursuant to her job duties. Is that correct?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Correct?
A little bit. So first off, Ms. Slater, you mentioned before that you are responsible for the financial functions of the town.
Yes, sir.
The status of all of these items that you outlined in your direct examination testimony, to your understanding of the way the town functions, how could they have arrived at that status as you found them?
Because they weren't being done.
And you as the town manager, acting town manager now, would be the person doing those, correct? Those functions. Regarding this Exhibit 2, can you open up to Exhibit 2 again? Can you look at the second page of Exhibit 2?
Yes.
Whose signature is there?
Janet Todd.
Okay, and you said before that you've never seen this document before?
That's correct.
Okay. Throughout your review of the town's files, the status of the town's information, you've never seen this document?
I have not.
Okay. Is there anything on this document that you can see that would tell you where it was filed with the town, or how it was maintained, or generally speaking, the manner in which this would have been in the town's records?
My assumption would be that it would be in the Wigglesworth vendor file, which I have not gone through. I've not seen any invoices from them, so I've had no reason to go through it.
Okay. You mentioned before that the vendor files were generally out of order and disorganized.
Yes.
Okay. With respect to Luff and Associates, you mentioned Luff and Associates. Who's Luff and Associates?
They are the accounting firm that the council has hired to reconcile all of the accounts.
And when were they brought in, do you know?
I believe January
Do you know why it was
or
necessary?
December, I'm sorry, December.
You know why it was necessary to bring them in?
Because there had been such a long time between the last reconciliation and the current date.
So they are dealing with which accounts in particular, do you know?
All of
Meaning
them.
years, all years.
From 21 through 25 on all accounts.
Okay. I'd like to further.
Cross?
Yeah, so when was Lawton Associates brought in?
I believe in January, or in December, I'm sorry.
December 2025,
Yes,
okay? Sitting here today, it was your testimony that because it hasn't been done in such a long time, right?
yes.
But you saw this exhibit, and, well, just if you could look at the exhibit for a second, and Mr. Vitale asked you, where would this be? What's the address on that?
100 West Market Street,
And where are we here today?
100 West Market Street,
So this was sent to town council, right? It looks like.
yes.
And so it looks like there was, services were, acquired to do reconciliations as of 2023, 2 years before, Luff and Associates were.
It appears that way.
Would you agree that if there's a problem, if there's a problem in the beginning of, in the records, it could screw up reconciliation for the time in the future?
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
basically, if Ms. Todd comes in as a town manager and there's all sorts of issues with checks and billing records and everything, it could extend the time of reconciliation because you've got to go back in time and figure all that stuff out, right?
Yes, that's the situation that I am in,
That's the situation you were in.
yes.
And before that, Mrs. Todd was in that same situation, correct?
I can't answer that.
Well, you can't do reconciliation. You talk about these reconciliations, these record, these, what do you term them? These accounts not being reconciled, right?
Yes.
They're not reconciled now, right?
They are, the majority of them are complete. I believe that the general account is the last outstanding and it may be recently completed.
Okay, and but you're doing that through Luff and Associates, right?
Correct.
Okay. And you don't have any idea how many problems Ms. Todd was facing at the time she took over her accounts, right?
I do not.
Okay. No further questions.
I do have a brief redirect, that's it.
No, there's no further redirect option. We resolved that in pre-hearing procedures. Council members have the opportunity to ask questions if they so desire. Council members have any questions? Okay. I, as hearing officer, also have the opportunity to ask questions, and I have one question asked of the witness. I think you testified earlier that you looked for invoices from the firm of Wigglesworth.
I
Were you-
did not look for the invoices.
Okay. Have you seen any invoices from the firm of
I
Wigglesworth?
have not.
Does that question, thank you, does that question raise any additional issues for council?
About Wigglesworth, the only question I would have is whether you can tell from the exhibit you reviewed if this was in fact mailed or emailed or the way that this would have been received by the town at all.
I cannot.
That's all I had.
Do you have any additional questions? Is the witness excused?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Mr. DePaul, do you have additional witnesses?
Yes, our final witness, although we do reserve to ask questions out of the scope of direct for Ms. Todd, so we don't have to call her twice. Our final witness, understanding that our case in chief would extend to Ms. Todd's testimony as well, is the town clerk, Ms. Carol Chisenhall, which my colleague just went to retrieve.
Chisenhall.
Yes,
Yeah, we're gonna need that spelling. We're gonna need that.
yes.
Let's get your remain standing, please. You can please state your name for the record.
Carolyn Chisenhall,
You need any spelling on that?
Yes, please. Can you spell your first and last name for me, please?
Carolyn, last name Chisenhall, Chisenhall.
Thank you very much.
Raise your right hand, please. You swear or affirm that the testimony you're going to provide is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Be seated.
Ms. Chisenhall, could we start out with a brief summary of your time working with the town and what your job duties have been over that time, please?
I've been here, I was hired as a town clerk, I think in July 2021. So I've been here about 4.5 years. I do meeting minutes, attend all meetings, do meeting minutes, I do, water billing.
Can you
accept
keep your
payments.
voice up for me, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. Water billing is the last thing I heard.
Water billing, I accept payments for water bills, if people come in to pay their water bills, or tax bills, or business licenses, building permits, that type of thing. I make the bank deposits for that.
So, outside of those sorts of activities, what involvement have you had over your tenure in addressing auditors or the overall financial posture of Greenwood?
When I was first hired, I think they were getting some stuff together for auditors, so I did scan bank statements to send to the auditors. That's about the only contact I've had with the auditors, but I think they were here, set up in this room one time, several auditors were here.
And how many employees, what I'll call the non-police or the administrative side, are at Greenwood?
Right now, just 2. It was 3 when I first came.
Right. So just make sure the record's clear. Throughout that time, you said you had no involvement. I'm gonna ask a more specific question. Did Ms. Todd ever ask you with any assistance involving reconciling accounts, locating materials for auditors, addressing the status of the town's, finances? You were never asked to assist with that in any way?
No.
So, let me ask you a little bit about your time at town meetings. You said that you take the minutes for those meetings?
Yes.
And you're the one who prepares them?
Yes.
So you're ever not here for a town meeting, or you generally always here?
Very rarely. I wasn't here for the February council meeting. I had a knee replacement, so I was out for that. But other than that, I'm here for
Understood.
every meeting.
So, and I'm gonna ask you about a couple of meetings that took place in June and July of 2025. Were you here for those meetings?
Yes.
Did you recall anything of note, I'll ask, regarding interactions between Ms. Todd and members of council at those meetings?
I know things got heated. I think there was some discussion about the canine. I'm not sure if that was June or July, one of those months.
When you say things got heated, what do you mean by that?
The council had requested some information about the canine. One of the things being insurance, that I think Ms. Todd didn't have a quote for them for insurance rates for the dog. Things got a little heated then.
When you say a little heated then, you mean someone got upset?
The council was asking for the numbers, and Ms. Todd did not have those numbers. She hadn't gotten quotes. She said she had trouble getting quotes, but she got upset.
When you say she got upset, what did she do that let you understand that she was upset?
I think she got a little bit loud, a little bit flustered, but I think, I'm not sure if that was the instance, or if there was one where, there was another instance, either June or July, with, let me think, it wasn't the canine, it was, another discussion.
And you
Time
it was,
sheets, Yes,
Another discussion, is that what you said, and they
Yes.
said time sheets?
yeah, it was about the timesheets.
The timesheets for the police department?
Yes,
What happened during that discussion?
Mr. Cessna had signed a paper saying, pay the police department, because Ms. Todd didn't want to pay them off the paper timesheets, because we have been using the payroll app. And so Mr. Cessna signed this paper, and it came up, they were talking about it in the council meeting, and, I think Mr. Cessna said, Mrs. Todd, because she had said something to him about these timesheets, about, like, she didn't say that she wasn't gonna pay the police department. And he said, Mrs. Todd, and she said, Mr. Mayor, she just kind of barked it back out at him, because it was a, kind of a tense
So it's your,
interaction.
is your understand, just as, again, as the clerk who's there observing that interaction, was Ms. Todd trying to like talk over the mayor? What was happening in that situation?
To me, it was like sarcasm, like he said, Mrs. Todd, and she just, Mr. Mayor, just barked back at him.
And how many times did she do that?
That was just the one time at that meeting. I think that was the meeting that she left as soon as she was done needing to speak, when there was nothing else on the agenda that she needed to do. She got her stuff and she left.
And was that, when you say she got her stuff and left, is that like her regular?
No.
Does she typically stay until the end, or?
Typically, she would stay till the end of every meeting, even if we went out for executive session, she stayed till we came back.
So have you ever observed another meeting where Ms. Todd left before the conclusion of the meeting? That you can recall?
No, just, that meeting, and the August meeting, she didn't stay till the end of executive session either.
Okay. And so in the July meeting, her leaving early was like, had they paused for a minute and she left, or did she leave in the middle of the meeting while it was ongoing?
Yes, she just left while the meeting was ongoing. She just got her stuff off the desk and left.
Before council adjourned?
Right, correct.
Have you ever overheard Ms. Todd discussing hunting activities during like working hours at town hall?
I've heard her discussing with, Roger also. Roger hunts, he's a public works
Right.
guy.
And do you ever overhear her interacting with any developers or anyone who had active interactions with the town about hunting or anything of that sort?
I didn't hear her speaking directly to the developers about hunting.
Did you ever, okay, I'm sorry.
I did, when Ms. Todd was first suspended, her emails, a couple of her emails came to me, and one of them was from one of the developers.
I understand. So there was an email that came through,
Yes,
and what was that email, to your understanding?
it was to Mrs. Todd, it was saying he had, a request, a neighbor or friend or somebody had requested to duck hunt, I think, on that property, and he said, I know that your husband hunts out there, and he didn't want there to be a conflict between the two hunters.
And who is he?
Mr. Kenton,
Okay.
Say it again, Mr.
Kenton, Kenton.
Thank you.
So did you review the email chain when it came through
No,
at the time?
no, I just responded that, that there's no hunting allowed in town limits.
Okay. So, did you ever, at any point in time, get a better understanding, around the time of suspension or before, about what was going on with the hunting discussions and Mr. Kenton? Like, did you ever overhear Ms. Todd speaking about that with Mr. Breeding?
I heard her saying that her husband had been hunting on that property, yes.
To Mr. Breeding?
Yes.
Around what time was that, would you say, if you can remember?
Probably last year, hunting season. I don't know when hunting season is, November, maybe. But it's not, it's something that I had forgotten about until the email came.
And to your understanding, who is Mr. Kenton?
Casey Kenton, I don't know if he's the owner of DE Storage or if, he was our contact person with DE Storage.
And what is DE storage?
They build storage units, they bought a whole corner out there on the highway of Route 16 and 13 to build storage units.
Do you know whether Mr. Kenton has ever had any sort of like business with the town involving any properties or anything of that sort?
Just that, that property was annexed into town,
So that was within the town limits?
yes.
Okay. You know if that property was within the town limits at the time that these discussions were going on about hunting?
It was,
And do you have an understanding of where the hunting was taking place? Was it around those properties or
Yes.
some other property?
it was those properties.
Okay. And could you describe, if you recall, what the nature of the exchange was between Miss Todd and Mr. Breeding about the hunting?
Just talking about, Justin, her husband, hunting out there, and they, I think they said that he had put cameras out there, and I think he bow hunts, I don't know that he was hunting out there with a gun or anything, but I know he does bow hunt.
Do you know anything about how it was that Ms. Todd's husband came to get authorization to be out there hunting? Do you know how that came to be? From anything you've heard or?
I didn't hear an actual ask
Okay.
for that.
Have you ever observed any harassment or mistreatment or rudeness towards Ms. Todd coming from Chief Walton?
No,
Have you ever observed any harassment, mistreatment, or rudeness towards Ms. Todd or of Ms. Todd coming from any members of council?
no, not that I can recall.
What was your understanding of the status of the audits over your tenure? Like, did you know anything about whether they were complete or ongoing, or, I know you said you weren't involved in them, did you ever have any knowledge, given your situation on the council, of like what the status of the audits were?
I know council would ask, what's the status of the audits, and it seemed like, the answer was normally, they're working on it, they should be done in a couple months, they'll be done in a couple months.
So over the course of your time here with the town, where are you situated in terms of where you work during your workday?
I'm in the same spot, it's a two desk office, so my desk is right in front of the window out here.
And who's the other person, if there is another person in that office?
The town manager, their desk is on the other side of the office. So we're not exactly facing each other, but like she's facing this way, I'm facing this way. And quite a bit of distance between us.
So over the years that you've been an employee with Greenwood, you've shared an office with the town manager? So over that time, you've had the occasion to observe her as she's performing her duties?
Yes.
How would you describe Ms. Todd's prioritization of audit issues and requests over the years?
There wasn't much talk of audits except when the council would ask about audits. I really didn't hear much else in the office about audits. There wasn't much discussion about it.
Okay, so to your understanding, were the audits being prioritized?
I don't think so.
So the area that Ms. Todd sits, that area, did you ever have the occasion to observe it after Ms. Todd was placed on a paid suspension?
Like immediately after?
Not
Yes.
immediately, you did immediately after.
Yes.
How soon after Ms. Todd was placed on paid suspension did you get a chance to look at your office again? Like the next day?
Or other than that night? you mean?
Yeah, other than that night, like
Yeah.
what was the next time you saw?
That night, and then I was here the next day.
Okay, so when you came back the next day, did you notice anything missing from the office?
Her cell phone, the town cell phone had been there, the night before. Her Rolodex was gone, and I don't know specifically what else, I know one desk drawer, like a big file size desk drawer was completely empty.
And what information was in the Rolodex? Do you know?
Just contacts. The one that I was looking for was, Delmarva Power, one for Delmarva Power, but, I mean, just business contacts.
So like vendor contacts for the town?
Yes.
Do you know anything about, if you could think back to a few years ago, I think is when this would have occurred, but do you know anything about whether Ms. Todd ever had any discussions about her position, whether it was salaried or hourly with anyone?
The only time I heard it mentioned was, when Mr. Donovan said something to her in the office, I think it was probably January 2022, about her being salaried, yeah.
Okay. Was that after Ms. Todd was promoted from her role as finance manager?
The whole time I was here, she was the town manager. She was the town manager when I came here.
So that
So it was
conversation
after that, yes.
must have occurred after that?
Yes.
Okay. How often would you say Ms. Todd had interactions with Mr. Massey?
Since he's been on the council,
Yeah, like, since he's been on the council, maybe even before, how often would you say she interacts with him in a given week, from what you observed?
since he's been on the council, probably by phone, if not every day, at least three times, 4 times a week.
How long were the conversations generally?
30 minutes. Sometimes she would come in the council room.
And was she on the phone with him ever prior to his becoming on council, to your recollection?
Not really, no.
Okay. Did she have that sort of contact with other members of council?
No.
And has,
Well, with D Jones, when D was on council.
there was some contact like that with D. Jones? And when did she roll off council, do you recall?
Spring, I think, maybe, April, May, whenever Mike came back on.
Of 25?
Yes,
Okay. And Mr. Massey is the vice mayor,
yes,
and has he been since he's been on council in that role?
yes,
Okay.
since February.
Okay. So, if I were to tell you that, in the email chain, that you saw the email come from the developer, that on that chain, Ms. Todd, from her town email address, asked Mr. Kenton for privileges for her husband to hunt on that property, if I were to offer that to you as a fact, right? And you were in Ms. Todd's shoes, what would your viewpoint or opinion be?
Object.
Sustained.
She's an employee of the town.
You asked her if she could form an opinion about Ms. Todd's state of mind.
Well, I would ask you about an opinion of, I'll change it to her state of mind.
Please.
What would your state of mind be if someone approached you and you were in a position of authority at a municipal governmental position? What would your response be to someone to the idea of asking for a privilege? Would you ever, let's start with send in something from a formal county email asking for a privilege of a family member?
I would feel it was inappropriate,
Why would you feel it's inappropriate?
because that would be using your job to gain a favor, from somebody that you wouldn't have any contact with outside, and I wouldn't like that appearance of impropriety. I would feel like it would make me look bad.
And what would your viewpoint be? I think you got into it a little bit, but would you have any viewpoint about the potential impact of that on a member of the public?
On their, like, would it look bad to
Sure.
the general person? Yeah, certainly.
you been following these proceedings while you've been out in office?
No.
Has the Facebook feed been playing in the background of the office?
The picture of it is on the screen, but there's no
What
There's
screen?
no audio. There's a big TV on the wall in the office that, Rhiannon had put it on the TV just in case it went black, so she could alert
Okay,
that the live
so-
stream was off.
At no point in time did anyone listen to anything in the office, it just was playing in the background?
Correct.
Have you ever asked a vendor of the town for a favor?
No.
Do you know, did you ever ask a vendor, a paving company, to give you free millings to take to your house?
No, Roger asked what this paving company was gonna do with some millings. And I said that I could probably use some. But 3 truckloads also went to,
I
a
got it.
person with a business here in town.
Jerry's Paving, right?
I think it was Jerry's.
And they're a vendor to the town?
Yes,
And you were, as an employee, you had them deliver free millings to your home?
yes,
Okay. And that was when you were working at the town, right?
yes.
So you don't see any conflict with that, with your conscience and everything, right?
Roger said they had to dump them somewhere. Where should they
Okay.
take these millings?
Now, regarding this hunting situation, do you have firsthand knowledge of either Miss Todd or her husband's relationship with this individual? Passive relationship outside of the town?
As far as I know, they had no relationship before Mr. Kent came to the town,
But you don't know that for sure, correct?
correct?
That's just something that that's a guess on your part, correct?
Right. However, I do know that you're not allowed to hunt in town.
Okay, did you file agreements or report it to
No, I did not.
the proper authorities?
No, I did not.
And you know there's a grievance process with the town, right?
No, I do not.
Did you get a copy of the employment handbook?
I didn't read anything about the grievance policy.
Did you get a copy of the employment handbook?
Yes,
Did you review it thoroughly?
evidently not thoroughly enough if I didn't read the grievance policy.
How long you been an employee here?
4 years, 4.5?
In that 4 years, you don't know that there's a grievance policy if there's an issue?
No, I knew I was in a 2-person office. I was in a 2-person office with, this building has quite a bit of employee turnover. I didn't think it was proper, for her husband to be hunting there, but I didn't wanna rock the boat.
Okay, did you report it as to any of the council members or anything like that? You could have done that, right?
I could have. I
Do you
guess.
trust certain members of the council that that would have been a protected activity of yours if you felt so strongly about this?
If it was something that I brought up to a member of council, I don't know what the outcome could have possibly been, that it would have been a good outcome.
What does that mean?
I mean, either they would, if Miss Todd had been reprimanded about that, it would have been a miserable workplace for 2 people.
Okay. But you don't know that what was gonna happen or if it was wrong or right, or, correct?
Correct.
Now, in the July 2025 meeting that you talk about where Ms. Todd walked out of the meeting,
Yes,
Mr. DeGallo just questioned about it, did you understand that Ms. Todd was having medical issues at the time?
no,
Did you hear that she was having brain tumor at the time?
I know, I mean, not at that time, but I mean, I knew that she had been seeing a doctor about this same situation that she'd been in for years.
Okay, and do you know that she reported that to the mayor, and that's why, one of the reasons why she walked out of the town council meeting?
No,
And that's the only time she's left that, town council meeting, right?
yes,
Now, you're at all the public meetings?
yes,
Okay, do you recall a public meeting where PKC, gave a. PKS, excuse me, gave a report of the process of the audit?
yes,
Okay, and do you recall them stating the issues delaying the audit were based on a time period prior to Ms. Todd becoming the town manager?
I don't recall them saying that.
Okay, And you don't call them, you recall them reporting to the town council that there was no instances of a non-compliance?
No, I don't recall that.
Do you recall anything about that presentation?
I know they made a presentation, yes, but I don't remember the specifics of it.
Okay, do you remember them recommending the town hire more individuals to handle the accounting part?
Yes,
Or outsource it to outsource it to somebody else?
yes, I know that the mayor had spoken to PKS, and at the April meeting, he said that, that PKS also had made the suggestion that we have somebody else come in on a regular basis, and
Okay.
somebody come and look at the, like reconcile the books monthly, and Ms. Todd said that she reconciles the books monthly herself.
Okay, do you remember there being a CPA in Wigglesworth that were contacted regarding doing that?
I've heard the name, I've not had any contact with anybody from Wigglesworth.
Okay. Well, I'm talking about, did you ever hear that at town council meeting?
I did, I heard, I think it was May, maybe, when Ms. Todd said that they would be coming the next month.
Do you remember the you remember there being accountants here on the ground for several days trying to reconcile the books?
Yes,
Okay, that happened with Ms. Todd here?
yes,
Okay, and Ms. Todd was cooperating with those individuals as far as you know?
yes,
And you never heard anything negative? Well, they were here like, what, 3 or 4 days, like a week?
yep, the better part of the week, yes,
And Ms. Todd was part of that?
yes,
And you didn't hear any negative aspects of Ms. Todd holding back documents or not providing the information, did you?
no,
Do you recall that one of the reasons why bank reconciliations was not done was because of the prior town manager?
no,
You never heard that?
no,
Did you ever hear that was because there was a switch from of software?
no, I heard there was the issue that I heard about was bank statements, that there were bank statements from the town, the bank that the town used prior to the bank that they currently use.
And that was before Ms. Todd became town manager, isn't that correct?
I don't know when that was, because that was before I came here,
Okay, when did you come?
summer of 2021.
2021. So you don't know when these issues actually began, these problems, right?
No,
Okay, and you don't know whether these problems were actually caused prior to Ms. Todd becoming the town manager, correct?
well, I mean, no, except that, audits had been done prior to her becoming town manager. I don't know exactly what you're saying.
Well,
There was a 2019 audit done.
do you have a lot of information about why the audits were delayed? First-hand information?
I don't, I believe that what Ms. Todd would say, it'll be a couple months, they're almost done, it'll be a couple months, and they're gonna wait until everything's done, they're gonna present everything at one time.
And you don't know whether or not they were telling Ms. Todd that, correct?
I have no idea what are you talking about PKS? I have no idea what PKS was telling Ms. Todd.
But PKS didn't contradict that when they presented at the May 14, 2025 meeting, correct?
They said to my recollection, the lady who was speaking from PKS said that they had needed some particular bank statements that were holding them up.
Holding them up.
Yes.
Do you recall those bank statements being bank statements prior to Ms. Todd becoming town manager? That was the reason.
I don't remember. I remember Ms. Todd calling the bank and saying, we need these bank statements, after Mr. Kemp, it was either Mr. Kemp or PKS, had said, we gotta have these statements. And she called the bank, and I think it was the very next day, Roger went and picked up the statements
That's
from the bank
interesting.
that they had been lacking.
That's interesting because Mr. DeCalla was just telling you out. You were just talking about how little Ms. Todd was doing regarding the audit. Now you're testifying that, hey, PKS said we need these bank statements, and it sounds like Ms. Todd was on it. She was calling the bank to get these bank statements, right?
That was that one block of time in the fall of 2024. The mayor, Mr. Kemp, was back and forth with the auditors himself to find out what is what's going on, where's the holdup.
But Ms. Todd was, as far as you know, she was following directives to try to get these bank statements, right?
Yeah, in that period of time.
Okay, well, and she was trying to get these bank statements pursuant to complete the audit, right?
Yes,
Okay, and you didn't hear at the public meeting on May 14, 2025, that Ms. Todd was hindering that process at all, did you?
no, nobody made that statement.
And you don't remember what PKS said regarding the timeline on when the audits were be completed? Do you understand my question?
No, could you repeat that,
No.
please?
When they presented,
Mhm.
you remember them presenting, right?
Yes,
You don't remember what timeline they gave as far as the audit being completed?
like how long they have been working on it?
How long would it be completed, when it would be done?
That, when they made their presentation in May, their audit was completed for 2021, or 2020.
Okay, but they were doing other audits, right?
They were beginning.
Oh.
That's when Mr. Nelson asked for the RFP.
And I think that's important to note that it was, they actually came in and said, hey, we completed for 2021. And that was actually because, in 2021 was the holdup for the other audits, right? Because they had to complete 2021 before they got into the other years, right?
Yes,
And the 21 audit was holding up everything else essentially, is that correct?
yes, to my understanding, as much as I understand about audits, yes.
Oh, based on you were there at the meeting and you kind of remember some facts about PCAS. And you recall, Ms. Todd was not, the town manager, well, you don't recall, you don't know whether when Ms. Todd became the town manager, right?
It was, before I came, I think March of 2021.
Okay. So, based on the fact that PCAS was saying, hey, we just got done 2021, it makes sense that the problems regarding 2021 happened previous to 2021, right? And that's why it took so long.
The paperwork,
The
yes,
paperwork.
the records. Mhm.
Okay, and you don't know if that problem was caused by Ms. Todd, do you?
No,
And do you recall PCAS saying they had no disagreements with the management of the town, or they weren't being locked out of anything?
I mean, I don't recall them saying anything about any hindrance.
Okay, and they didn't have any issues with non-compliance, that's what they publicly stated to the town council, do you recall that?
I don't recall that, but
And they recall it took them 3 years to get the records for 2021, and that's why it took so long.
I don't recall the specifics of the meeting, but that sounds right.
And do you recall that one of the problems, I think you testified, was the switch in banks, right?
Yes, the bank switched before I came here, so yes.
And one of the other problems was the switch in software, correct?
I don't know anything about the software. I don't know if that was an issue or not.
Just give me a moment. And you did testify that you knew that Ms. Todd was battling medical issues throughout a period of time, including brain tumors?
Since before I come here, yes.
Okay. And did she ever communicate to you that could affect how her ability to function at times?
No,
No further questions, thank you.
You're direct?
Yes, thank you. This whole paver situation, I want to make sure that I understand what that discussion was. There were pavers that were gonna be thrown away by someone?
well, Roger said there were millings. They came and they were gonna re-blacktop this street out here. And Roger said he needed someplace to take these millings. And Janet called, one of the business owners, Kim at It's All Country, to see
Say it
if she
again,
needed,
say the name of the business again for me?
It's All Country, to see if she needed more millings, because she had said before there were potholes in her parking lot was a mess. And Janet asked Roger, did he have some millings, and he took some millings over there.
Why would Roger have millings? When you say Roger, you mean Roger Breeden?
Yes,
Say the name again, Roger.
Breeding,
Read it.
Yes,
And he's an employee of the town.
yes.
Why would Roger have millings?
There had been other, blacktop projects in the town. I don't know if there was a pile of millings at his shop, or if at one point there was a pile over by the ball field.
So he had a pile of millings that had to be disregarded, that were accumulating, is that what the situation was?
Yeah,
And they were already in the town's possession?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that time. The ones that they brought me some was another project. I mean, the ones that were already existing, she had Roger take them out to Kim for her parking lot, and then when they were doing this project in town, she asked Kim if she wanted some more millings. Because
Right.
Roger said, what are we gonna do with all these millings? They gotta haul these millings somewhere. So, I think 3 truckloads went to Kim's, and I said, well, I could use some in my driveway if they're just being given away.
Understood.
So they took them
So
to my
these
house.
millings in essence were waste, essentially like a side product of some project
Yes,
that were accumulating
yes,
that needed to be disregarded somewhere?
yes.
Okay.
It wasn't any cost to the town, it wasn't anything that the town paid for, it was, what are we gonna do with these? Hey, we'll take 3 truckloads out to Kim's for her parking lot.
And was Ms. Todd aware of what was transpiring with this
Yes.
situation?
Yes,
And so, of course, if she was aware, and this is being proffered now, I think, is some sort of ethical breach, Ms. Todd approached you about that and said you shouldn't do that, right? Or did she not?
could you
Did
repeat
Ms.
that?
Todd ever say this is an ethical breach and you shouldn't be doing that?
No,
Okay. Do you
no,
know if Ms.
she was offering them to a business owner.
Okay, and did Ms. Todd ever report this potential issue that's now being raised to anyone on council at the time, to your knowledge?
Not as far as I know,
So to your knowledge, there was never a word uttered to anyone
no,
about the status of these millings, their disposition, or the fact that there was a problem with the town's waste products being discarded somewhere?
no.
Okay. With respect to the employee handbook, who's the head of HR for all intents and purposes of the town?
The town manager,
Okay, so were you around when the current employee handbook was adopted?
I was around when it was amended in 2022.
Okay, so after that amendment, did Ms. Todd bring the handbook to you and review it with you in her role as the HR head of the town?
No, I think we all were just told we needed to sign
Okay,
the paper.
When you were-
saying we got a copy.
when you were onboarded,
Mhm.
understanding you're the only other administrative employee aside from Ms. Todd, correct?
Mhm.
So when
Yes,
you were,
then
Yes.
Thank you.
so when you were onboarded, did Ms. Todd review the handbook with you then?
No,
So she's the head of HR, right?
yes,
And she never discussed or addressed or went through anything with you involving the HR handbook?
we looked, I looked at the handbook when we were, when they had an employment attorney here to make changes to the handbook. So I looked through the handbook at that time, but we didn't sit down and discuss it other than looking for potential changes that needed to be made.
So, and so the record's clear, in terms of apprising you of what your rights, obligations, responsibilities are as an employee, the town manager, who is also the head of HR, never discussed the contents of the handbook with you over her tenure,
No,
with you.
no,
I have nothing further.
Mr. Cross?
You got a town solicitor, right?
yes,
You could've gone to him, right?
yes,
If you had a real issue. Listen, I don't care if you have millings or not. The point is, the only reason you got those millings, right, is because you were an employee of the town and there was an opportunity, right?
yeah, because they were given away to a business in the town. It's not,
I
I wouldn't have said, hey, they're, well, I wouldn't have said, hey, can I have that, other than it was, being offered to one particular business owner in the town.
You did say that you could use them though, right?
Yes,
And if I'm Joe Schmo living in a couple streets that doesn't work at town council at that time, you have that opportunity because you were working in town council, right?
yes.
I don't have any more questions.
I felt like it being offered to a business owner, it just sounded like, hey, this is trash, we gotta get rid of it. I'm gonna call this one particular business owner that I like and have that put in her parking lot. I'm sure there are other business owners in town that could have used millings in their parking lot as well.
Thank you. We now have the opportunity for members of council to ask questions if they so desire. Members of council have no questions for this witness. Is the witness excused?
Yeah, I have nothing further. And then she's fine to go.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much for your time and testimony today. You're excused.
The town has no further witnesses.
So I make a suggestion? I make a suggestion?
Well,
I'm sorry, taking that step on your toes.
Mr. Del Cola, subject to any rebuttal presentation, at this point, is the town resting its case in chief?
No, we're gonna leave our case in chief open for any questions of Ms. Todd that come in out of the scope of Mr. Poliquin's direct, unless Mr. Poliquin takes the position that we should call Ms. Todd up twice. But I think that's the most efficient way to proceed. And then I would rest after our question of Ms. Todd.
So, Mr. Poliquin, in addition to what you wanted to raise, does Mr. Del Cola's statement raise any issues for you?
No, I already told him he wanted to.
Okay.
That's fine with me.
Okay, so you had submission.
No, I was gonna say logistically, I think if we switch sides, take
No
a break,
problem.
and then I can talk to a few, see what witnesses are there, we'll see who needs to get out of here, and just so we can kind of move as efficiently as possible, maybe take a 15-minute break. If that's
15
fine.
minutes, so we will reconvene at 2:45.
Makes sense.
Off the record, thank you.